Hello everyone, welcome to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at the Mark of Athena, chapter 37, and starting Leo's story. Now, in this chapter, it starts off with Leo and Frank and Hazel just wandering around Rome. There's so many layers of Rome that Hazel's having a really hard time finding out which way they should go. And it's really funny because Hazel starts to talk about, oh, look at this place in Rome. Oh, look at this place in Rome. Oh, Rome is so wonderful. And Leo's just kind of like, that doesn't make sense. Why would you want to do that? What? Are you sure? And he keeps making these jokes. And Hazel's like, oh, man, I don't know what you're talking about. She grabs Frank's hand and leads Frank off to somewhere else. And Frank kind of looks at Leo like, oh, man, that vocabulary word, he says, you doofus, which is a fool or an idiot, for not just making Hazel feel good. But Frank is just like, grrr, and he takes off with Annabeth. Or not with Annabeth, with Hazel. She pulls Frank over to the Pantheon. And at first they don't know what building it is. And they're kind of looking at the Latin. But then Leo, who speaks Spanish, listens to one of the tour guides. Oh, and he says, oh, this is the Pantheon, and it was burnt down in a fire at this time, and it was restored at this time by this emperor. And Hazel's like, whoa, how'd you know that? Frank kind of guessed, but Leo's like, yeah, I'm just cool. But they go inside, and it just looks amazing in there. It looks so beautiful, and Leo's like, wow, this architecture is amazing. Now, he's not really an architect like Annabeth, but he's an engineer, so he can understand the weight and the structure. And for a moment, he's like, oh, I wonder how that scary blonde girl's doing. I hope she's doing okay. And they continue looking on. Hazel's like, there's a secret passage here. I can feel it. This is where we need to start. Leo thinks, man, if I were to make a secret passage in this building, where would I put it? Oh, I would probably put it over here. He goes over to the statue of Raphael's tomb, it looks like, and he finds a locking mechanism. And he's like, oh, guys, I got it. It's over here. And he starts to move the locks, and a hole opens up in the ground. And from this, Leo just click, 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 opens up the passage. So Hazel kind of looks down and she's like, guys, I'm going to go down there and explore. I don't sense any monsters. I don't sense any traps. It looks pretty safe. I'm going to go check it out. And she's like, you guys wait here. Now, Frank and Leo, they're kind of like, should we go back to the ship? Piper said that we should go together. But Hazel's like, I'm just going to look, and then we'll go get him. It's not 3 o'clock yet. We have time. So Hazel jumps down and goes exploring the tunnel. She says, I'll be back in 10 minutes. Frank and Leo are hanging out and talking. But there are these 3 big, fat Americans. Okay, and I'm American. And but there's really big Americans that are looking kind of sometimes at Leo and Frank like, oh. And they're complaining about the air conditioning and that there isn't any. And they look really out of place. But they're not doing anything bad, and so Leo just kind of ignores him. During this time, Frank says, hey, Leo, Hazel told me you figured out my weakness. And Leo's like, oh, man, Frank, I forgot you were here. And he's like, yeah, I kind of figured it out, but, man, it's okay. You're on my team, man. I would never do anything to hurt you. And then, they kind of have this moment where they start sharing and connecting. Frank talks about how his grandma died, how his mom died, and then Leo accidentally just shares like, oh man, yeah, my mom died from fire too, and he starts to share how his mom died, and then they're both like, whoa, our moms died from fire, and man, I could really feel some connection. Around this time, those 3 fat Americans start to move closer and closer to Leo and Frank, to where finally they're like, Leo Valdez, we're gonna kill you, and their eyes turn gold, And Frank and Leo are like, I want El Edolians? I can't remember what we called them before, how it's pronounced. But they decide that it's better to run away than to fight them, so they jump down the hole. Frank turns into a snake and slithers down the hole, and that is how the chapter ends. Some vocabulary. The first one is plot. Plot is just kind of like walk, plop, 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 kind of like that. Imagine a young child tired following their mom or dad, just kind of that kind of feeling, just plod along. And Frank is just happy plodding along after Hazel. Gloat. Gloat is to say, oh, I won, look at me, woo! Kind of sharing your victory too much to the loser. And so Frank, kind of feels like, oh, should I gloat about holding Hazel's hand or just let it go? But she just lets it go. Doofus, which I mentioned before, is a fool or an idiot. Get a grip. This is an expression to say kind of like get control. Maybe if you watch like a cartoon or a movie or a comedy, and one of the people, something crazy happens. One of the people is like, ah! And then someone grabs him, whoop-ah, whoop-ah. Like smacks them in the face. Get a grip. They'll say, get control of yourself. Get a grip. Get a grip of your mind and control of yourself. Get a grip. And that's what Leo thought the Latin, I think, said. Placard, that's like that huge sign that you go to airport and someone holds it up and it says your name. Maybe a taxi driver or a hotel. We call that a placard. Puny means very tiny and small. So when they look in the Pantheon, there's this huge hole that the sun is just coming out. And Leo can imagine Zeus looking down that hole and trying to use the light to zap the humans inside the temple. Recess, this has two meanings. The first one is like a break time. In America, in school, we have a small break time where the kids can go outside and play. We call that recess. Now, in this case, though, recess means something going down or in a architectural way. And so there was this maybe, oh, you know what? Here, I can actually draw it. That might be better. So if you think of here's a statue, okay, and here is a plaque, but here it comes inside, okay, this is a recess, and then it comes out, something like that. So where it comes in or dips in, and it can even have like a recess right here, and maybe there's a name in that recess where it kind of pushes in. So that's also a recess. Let's see here. How do I go back to my normal pointer? Yeah. Okay, there we go. The next one here, gawking. Gawking is like, oh, just staring at something like with a, whoa. All the tourists are looking at the Pantheon, oh, just staring at it really passionately and intently. Chided means to say, hey, don't do that. That was a bad thing. And Hazel chides Leo because Leo says, Frank, I think you're too big to fit down this hole. And Hazel's like, Leo, that's not nice. You be nice to Frank. All right. Let's go to discussion question. Have you ever felt like a doofus? Okay, I just imagine Hazel and Leo walking around and Hazel's like, oh, this is so romantic. Oh, I wish I could go to this place. And Leo's just making jokes and saying silly things. And finally, Hazel's like, I just don't understand you. Come on, Frank. And she grabs Frank's hands and go away. And Leo's like, what? I can't understand girls. He felt silly. He felt a little bit like a fool. And certainly Frank looked at him like, oh man, you're such a fool. Don't you know how to talk with girls or something like that? Have you ever felt like a doofus? Maybe in a different way, right? In class, in school, with your homework, with family. There's several times in my life where I felt like a doofus. And I'll share those with you when we get together. Of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time we have for today. But thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.